We are actually on a journey. There's a place where we are going. So I want you to be ready and prepared, be able to go there with us. Committed. The word of God is not just to be heard, it's also to be, and more importantly, it is to be done. Today I want us to go to 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 7, verse 8. But refuse profane and old wives' fables, and exercise thyself rather unto what? Godliness. Verse 8, 1 to go. Thirdly, but godliness exercise. Right? You know, in verse 7 it says to exercise yourself rather unto godliness. I want to get that. Get that. Verse 7 says, exercise yourself rather unto godliness. In verse 8 now it says, bodily exercise profiteth little, but godliness exercise. Is that okay to say that? It's profitable unto all things, having promise of the life which now is and that which is to come. Verse Timothy, let's go to chapter 6 and verse 6. Verse 6 of chapter 6 says, but godliness with contentment is what? But godliness with contentment is great gain. My topic is from godliness to greatness. From godliness to greatness. I want you to stay with me. I don't know, I've been a Christian, all my life. I grew up in church. And we grew up in an environment, in a religious environment where godliness was an excuse for mediocrity. I don't know what your experience was. My experience was that godliness, in fact, commitment to God was an excuse for poverty. If you said, I remember when I said that God has called me to be a pastor, a preacher, that people who thought I was too promising, they thought I was too promising to be a pastor. Right? Is that where all these talents will be wasted? Is this where? No. In fact, I remember one of my mentors at that time says, no, this is not what I'm expecting you to come and tell me. Because to be too committed to God, even now, self, it's like if somebody is too committed to God, he won't do well in business, right? Because business requires some things that God will not like. So don't go too close. Give yourself some room to do the things that business requires. Oh, yeah. If you are so committed to God, you won't do, even though Christians are doing expo now, but there's a level you won't do. Right? You can peep. But if you just kind of send again a text on with your phone, you may not want to do that. Because that one is clearly bad. But you can just peep. So you ask somebody, why is their life going the way they're going? Is because they love the Lord. Who understand what I'm talking about? So, I love the Lord. I can't try that. I can't. That is, you cannot. In fact, we don't even join politics because we love the Lord, right? Because if you go too close now, you'll be overwhelmed by sin. So the people that are out there doing well and being leaders in society and having all the money are those who don't quite love God so much. Because if you love God so much, that will be a problem. Okay? One of the things that made was for people who wanted to be rich. They didn't want to be so into God. Right? We wanted to go very far. They didn't want to go more into God. And I think that in doing that, we did a huge disservice to God. that godliness will not get you riches, it will not get you greatness. But by its very expression, godliness should lead to excellence. Godliness should lead to greatness. It should lead to wealth. It should lead to being outstanding. It says, bodily exercise profits little, but godliness is profitable unto how many things? All things, having promise of the things that now is the thing that is to come. In other words, with godliness, I'm supposed to be the richest man in the world. Right? Is it possible? With godliness, I'm supposed to be the head in my class. With godliness, I'm supposed to be, I can be the president of Nigeria. With godliness, I can be the governor of this state. With godliness, I can be anything. Godliness cannot be a setback. And I think the problem is that we don't even understand what godliness really is. What does it mean to be godly? You know, when we think about being godly, we think about being spiritual, in quotes. Of course, what does being spiritual mean? What does it mean to be spiritual? If you investigate it, it means nothing. What does it mean he's spiritual? What does that mean? He frowns his face. He walks slowly. He says church things. I always tell people there's no point being spiritual. You are already a spirit. You can't get any more spiritual than that. Right now, we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings.